Hey everybody, I wanted to talk to you about your annotated bibliography, and I wanted to give you an update on the fact that I've uploaded a recent example on Google Classroom for you. I've updated the example that I already had on there. I took the old one out, put the new one in. So if you're on Google Classroom and go to your Hamlet materials, you should see it right here, annotated bibliography example. It's brand new. It's the same content as before. I just moved some things around, added a few things. But I also wanted to kind of talk to you about my thought process on it so you can kind of see where I'm coming from. So I'm going to go ahead and open this so you can kind of see and follow along. And here you have your last name and page number. Over here you have your name, my name, the class, and the date. Just like always, that's your MLA formatting. Then you have the title, which is Annotated Bibliography for Hamlet. Here's the source citation. So I got this article from George MacDonald, and it's called The Elder Hamlet. There is another article that responds to this, and you'll actually see that quite often in these kind of criticisms, that these people talk to each other. It's like a living conversation. So if you find an article that references another article, that's a two-for-one deal. You could use both of those in your paper and talk about what this guy says versus what this guy says and who you think is right. So anyway, so I have this one from George MacDonald, and I give the source citation first. That's what all of that was. And then my first paragraph, I'm just going to summarize what is the article talking about. And here I say, this article attempts to present a detailed character analysis of the ghost in Shakespeare's Hamlet. The article mentions several distinct points to defend the ghost as a significant character in the play, despite having only 2 appearances in the entire play. He argues that the ghost is a noble and just character with only the best intentions for Hamlet and the country as a whole. Now, you yourself might not actually be doing that prompt. In fact, this isn't even my prompt. This is just summarizing the article. Right here, I say this article does an interesting job in portraying the ghost as a more sympathetic character with noble intentions that maybe even Shakespeare himself does. That is because MacDonald really delves deeply into the heart of what each word and action portrayed by the ghost might mean. That, unfortunately, is the problem. With such minimal presence in the play itself, it feels like the article really makes a few good points, but generally has to reach to make others. So, in other words, what I'm saying here is that this article, while maybe having good intentions of talking about the ghost as a major character, the ghost really only speaks in 2 scenes in the entire play. So for him to say that this is a major character, I mean, he's got to kind of reach a bit with what the ghost is saying, because he really doesn't talk very often. In fact, Laertes speaks more than that. Ophelia speaks more than that. All the other major characters speak much more than that. Even characters who aren't considered major characters speak more than that. Osric, who's not a major character, speaks more than that. So anyway, you get my point. So this is my evaluation paragraph where I evaluate how good a job his article does at whatever it's trying to do. And I've already established in my summary that it's trying to set up the ghost as a significant character. I say in here that he kind of does a pretty good job, although most of the time he kind of has to reach. Well, anyway, that's all fine and good. That kind of tells me, the reader, what this article's intentions were and how good they were. Now we get to the meat of the actual assignment, paragraph 3. In this paragraph, you're going to tell me, what are you going to use that article for? Right here, I tell you in my first sentence, in regards to the portrayal of women in Shakespeare's Hamlet. So I tell you in my very first sentence that my topic is the portrayal of women in Shakespeare's Hamlet. So how on earth can I use an article about the ghost to refer to the women in Shakespeare's Hamlet? And I go in and I talk about that. And I say, while this article's focus is primarily on the character of the ghost, the author boasts that reading this passage, can anyone doubt that the ghost charges his late wife with adultery as the root of all his woes? Wow, that's a bold statement. So basically what this article is saying, and what this quote I've used is saying, is I'm saying, look, it may be talking about the ghost, but it's blaming the women, specifically Gertrude, for the ghost's problems. Now, you've read Hamlet, I've read Hamlet. We both know that really the ghost says that Claudius is to blame for his problems. And I go through, and you can read this, I'm not going to read this whole thing to you, but I go through and I say that basically that's exactly what Shakespeare says, that Shakespeare has Claudius being the focal point of the ghost's anguish. In fact, the ghost even says to Hamlet, don't mess with your mom. Why would the ghost say don't mess with your mom if the ghost was blaming his mom for all of its troubles? So in this paragraph, I basically blast this author right here, this MacDonald guy, for basically being way off the mark. So I'm taking a negative approach. You might find articles that you disagree with on your topic, and that's perfectly fine, and that's what I'm showing you here. Your article doesn't have to agree with you. You can disagree with the article and still use it, but you need to back up what you're saying. And so when I put this in my paper, I'm going to back up my side that I've mentioned in paragraph 3 here. I'm going to mention different quotes from the play itself to back up what I'm saying. Now, I don't do that here in this example because this particular entry is just focused on this article. But when I put it in my research paper, I'm certainly going to argue against what this guy is saying. And that's perfectly fine. So he's saying the ghost blames Gertrude. And I'm like, no, he doesn't. He blames Claudius. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. So you see how long this third paragraph is? That's because I'm talking about how this article relates to the prompt. And my prompt was the role of women. So how can I take an article that talks about the ghost and relate it to the role of women? Well, that's because he uses the ghost and says that the ghost blames the women, which no, I don't agree that he does. So that's what you're doing in this. This is one entry. So here's my source citation. Here's a summary of what it's about. Here's my evaluation of how good a job he does. And then here's what I'm going to use this article for in my paper. Okay. Now, the more detailed you make this third paragraph, notice this third paragraph of mine is a page. The more detailed you make this third paragraph, the better your research paper will be. I can quite literally copy and paste this third paragraph here and put that in my research paper, and there's 1 page done out of 6. So, if you make your third paragraph really short, you're going to have a lot of work to do in your research paper. So make that third paragraph where you explain how this article is going to fit your prompt. Make that make that elaborate, okay? Put a bunch of quotes in here. I only have 1 quote in here. I tried to find some more, but my server is down right now, so I can't really get back into the article and use some more quotes. But I do want to mention also, and I mentioned this before, that there is another article that basically does exactly what I did. It talks about this guy's article and says this guy is full of crap. So I could use that other article that disagrees with him, and I could put that in my paper and use that primarily to refute what this guy is saying. And there's 2 sources down. So there's a lot of leeway that you have in this assignment, and I just kind of wanted to show you my thought process. So once again, give a source citation, give me a summary, give me an evaluation of that article, how good a job does it do, and then explain how that article fits the prompt. That's paragraph 3. How are you going to use this article to explain the prompt? You don't have to worry about an introductory paragraph. You don't have to worry about a conclusion. You don't have to worry about anything else except this source in this entry. So when I'm done with this entry, I'll do another source, and I'll focus on that source with that entry, and so on and so forth until I've got all 5 sources that look just like this. And that's really all there is to it, guys. So I hope this video helps. Please ask if you have any more questions. I'm about to run out of time, so I'm going to stop this video, and hopefully you guys get it done.